everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do.
Fans had been pleading for Caitlin Clark's colleagues to show them this kind of pushback. They also received significantly more from Sophie Cunningham than they had anticipated. Sophie became Kathy Angelber's worst annoyance and every fan's loudest voice since she wasn't just Caitlin's enforcer. Let me clarify. As the 2025 season went on, it became evident that Sophie could take no more of the league's bullshit. The referees disregarded every cheap shot in Caitlin's strong foul. Sophie was unfazed by whatever penalties the league imposed on her. Instead, she intensified her attacks on the officials, the press, her former teammates, and even the league. No one was excluded. The WNBA should be terrified of this part. This is just the start. Sophie's transformation from Caitlin's enforcer to the WNBA's worst nightmare is shown in this film, with each moment becoming more daring and fulfilling. But first, leave a comment with your favorite Sophie moment and like this video.
The competitor that I am, I'm fierce, I'm sassy, I stick up for my teammates, stick up for myself, and so sometimes I think that's okay to be feisty and to be.
It turned out that Sophie's statement was an understatement. Fans were thrilled when she joined the Fever because they sorely needed the feistiness she promised. A stop to the constant barrage of cheesy shots directed at Caitlin Clark. Sophie, however, brought more than flames. Fans took notice of what she delivered immediately away. Genuine devotion to Caitlin.
You know, she has changed our game in the best possible way.
And that was uncommon in the WNBA. Following a season in which Caitlin's influence was minimized by the media, the officials failed to treat her fairly, and even Nike delayed its promotion. Hearing a player finally speak the truth was energizing. The WNBA's face is Caitlin Clark. She is changing it. Sophie became the public enemy #1 as a result of her honesty. Soon after, other players began to put her to the test. We also saw Savage Sophie for the first time during the preseason. She was defeated by rookie Kiki Fun against the Mystics. Sophie got to her feet and essentially told him, never try that again.
You go down into the trees and things happen, and Kiki or Ifin right there, they had an extra little shove, and she's just like, what'd I do? Well, you kind of grow up, and then Sophie Cunningham pops right up and has a lot to say.
Was that preseason event merely a taste of things to come, a preview of the season? Because what chance did Caitlin Clark have if a newbie could defeat an experienced opponent like Sophie with no fear? The Fever was in their open season. Additionally, Sophie's involvement was going to become quite evident. The whistles remained stuck in the referees' pockets for game after game. While other players got away with murder, Caitlin was pummeling with no calls. It was the year 2024 again. Sophie has had enough. Commissioner's Cup, Fever vs. Connecticut Sunday, June 17th. The officials allowed the game to get out of hand. JC Sheldon began by swiping at Caitlin's eyes. Marina Mabrey then gave her a body shot to level her. No accountability, no protection, and no ejections. At that point, Sophie Cunningham lost her temper. Her subsequent actions immediately became legendary among Caitlin Clark's admirers. This was sheer catharsis for Caitlin's supporters.
That's a flagrant foul. It's a hard foul. You could say it's a play on the ball.
And lastly, some payback. Sophie exacted revenge after months of witnessing Caitlin being hacked without any defense. A straightforward challenge, a shove, and a headlock. Take action. Sophie had always been fiery until now. However, this was unique. This was the flip of the switch. She started playing with zero FS to give right away, and she continued to do so on the court. When reporters questioned Sophie about the confrontation during practice following the game, she made it abundantly evident that it wasn't about a single play or game. There was more to it than that.
During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so.
Sophie had observed Caitlin Clark's abuse from a distance. She had had enough of it and was now experiencing it directly. Sophie Cunningham became a household name after that.
Bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom! Wow.
It was her who ultimately stood up for Caitlin Clark. The final manifestation of the Caitlin Clark effect was what followed. She was immediately embraced by her fans. Her jersey was gone in a matter of minutes. Sophie embraced the millions of new fans she gained on social media as it exploded. She gave a nod to the JCS Sheldon takedown by posting a TikTok with a Selena Gomez song, and it went viral. A single message filled her comments. "I appreciate you defending Caitlin. It was a moment worth millions of dollars." Sophie transformed from a supporting player to one of the league's most marketable names overnight. However, every new fan brought with it an equal number of adversaries. While remaining mute over Mabry's hit or Sheldon's jab at Caitlin, the media criticized her retaliation against JC Sheldon. A shift, even an online petition demanding that she be expelled from the league for her unsportsmanlike behavior surfaced. Next followed the $400 WNBA fine. Sophie was at a turning point at this point. She could have remained silent, allowed the tension to subside, and reverted to being just another tenacious role player. However, she didn't. Every soundbite became more acute after that. Every phrase is more unrepentant, every clip more vicious. Sophie Cunningham was no longer the only one playing basketball. She decided on war. And that's when she turned into the biggest nightmare in the WNBA. Sophie was at the pregame wearing a Barstool Sports Trisletches tee that featured her Caitlin and Lexi Hall, just 5 days after the JC Sheldon incident. It was yet another unmistakable indication of her support for Caitlin, and it outraged several WNBA members. The phrase, "Trace Letch's 3 milks," was understood as a reference to the 3 white players of the Fever. Sophie donned the clothing even though she was aware of how it would be received. And she wasn't finished yet.
And I don't know how excited people are to be going to Detroit.
Sophie attacked the WNBA directly on July 1st, criticizing its intentions for growth. Cities like Cleveland and Detroit immediately went into overdrive. She received criticism from the media, fans, and even league insiders. She briefly attempted to retract her remarks by claiming they were taken out of context. Here's the problem. There's no need in giving in when you're up against the mob. Sophie took the opposite action. She took it a step farther and declared aloud that everyone agreed with her. Simply put, they were too scared to say it.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I am someone who says what everyone else is thinking or talking about, not just with the refs,
Did you post
but
that
with
after
Detroit,
after you guys lost?
with Cleveland. I want people to hear what I just said. I am the only one, but if you ask our league, they feel the same exact way.
The league feels the same way about the refs as you?
And Detroit and Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
you
so
want to
now,
give it one more shot?
no, because
Okay.
I said what I had to say.
You go on.
And I'm not going to apologize because I fully believe that. Don't tell me that Detroit is more fun than...
And the trend swiftly followed. Sophie was the only one who didn't hesitate to express what everyone else was considering. Additionally, the fines quickly began to accumulate. She publicly criticized the referees for their lack of intelligence and usefulness on July 18th when she uploaded a TikTok lip-syncing to a Sabrina Carpenter song. The post blew up. 1 million views in a matter of hours. Fans adored it. You know who didn't though? WNBA. They imposed a $500 punishment on her. And to be honest, the figure seemed absurd. The majority of WNBA players consider $500 to be a respectable portion of their pay. However, Sophie saw $500 as little in the face of the influx of endorsement revenue. Hell, Caitlin's $11 million in 2024 earnings most likely covered the fee for her. Thus, the WNBA did not silence her. Rather, it increased her voice. Because Sophie turned it up a notch less than 2 weeks later. She debuted her new podcast, Show Me Something, on July 30th. She didn't hold back from the first episode either. It was more than just a podcast. She used her platform to reveal the W.
Seeing players in our league try to toughen up Caitlin, we call her CC, for even when I wasn't on her team. I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And I get it to it a certain extent. And every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But
Right.
there's just more for her. So it's her second year. And like now being on her team and like seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Like actually it's just too much. And like, it's just, I'm over. And if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much.
No, that's so
like, that's fair, right?
Yeah.
It was evident from the first episode that nobody was safe. She took aim at the league, pointing out the mistreatment Caitlyn was receiving and even bringing up former teammates. She said bluntly the cheap shots, the roughness on the court, and the chippiness. Caitlin Clark was entirely to blame. She didn't stop there either. She aimed her ire at the referees, claiming that Marina Mabrey ought to have been thrown since they totally lost control during the Sun game.
Players on their team that are just do a little bit extra stuff, like just chippy talking. Like you're a professional athlete, like that's what happens, right?
And I feel like you see it more because people act like this towards Caitlyn.
Yes, 1,000%. So in the first half, the refs didn't call. Someone should have been thrown out, and the refs did not call it.
Correct, I remember that.
They didn't, and so I was like, all right,
she got full body chested
by 3 people.
Yeah,
like 2 people. They're like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, if that was anyone else, I would have been booted out of the game. I know that for sure. I'm a little sassy, but like, so are they.
Your leash is shorter though, because they know.
Literally, I don't even have a leash. I just have a freaking collar and a hand.
Then this happened. Sophie slammed not only the players but also the owners, the media, and any other leaguer who disregarded Caitlin Clark.
No, I think that's from what I've seen.
Yeah, what
in the
is
media,
the outside? Like the outside
the
view
discourse
of the
is
W?
like, why bully the person who is like not 100% responsible, but like has a huge role in growing your support?
Dude, and it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
No, there's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
Yeah.
You're literally dumb as fuck.
And after that, she went straight for the refs. A direct, targeted attack, essentially daring the league to fine her.
And I get it, because if I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Most? Everything?
Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're going to be finding the shit out of me,
yeah,
cool. But let me do it to you.
Let you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Want
like
consistency then.
Yeah, like just give. And I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country. Like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do shit.
She then headed straight for the referees. A clear, focused assault that effectively challenges the league to track her down.
Out like our first week, what people had to say, well, the WNBA fined me.
No! You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. I was like, you're kidding.
Oh, way.
I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that I would not be good at it. I did say that. Like, look at the whole picture. What are we doing?
And Sophie disclosed on August 5th that the league had fined her $1,500 this time.
Towards the end of her career, so like, she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're gonna leave, like, you're gonna have to expect getting bit.
Was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately? Yeah, that's tough. And, yeah, okay.
However, as she had promised, the fine had no effect. 2 days prior to playing her in Phoenix, she criticized former teammate and mentor Dana Bonner for her unflattering departure from Indiana in the same podcast.
Or just pass an opponent tonight. Yeah, AZ was good to me, but I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans. But for me, I'm way happier in Indiana.
Who knows what was discussed about that Fever Mercy game behind closed doors? However, what followed made one thing very evident. Sophie's remarks did not sit well with Phoenix. She used this as a tactful yet direct way of saying, "You're dead to me."
I think, I think she's a hell of a player and, would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. Like, you literally couldn't touch her.
couldn't touch her. And that shit is so.
She got into full savage mode after that, though. One of the WNBA's unwritten rules was broken by her subsequent behavior. She specifically targeted the referees for their lenient treatment of Paige Beckers. Sophie attacked the officials in her August 13th podcast, claiming that Paige was receiving ridiculously preferential treatment. She didn't mince words. She didn't hedge. She stated it out loud and completely wrecked them as a result.